Hi everyone. This is Geopolitical Observation. For Central Asia, the developments in Ukraine over the past several days came out of the blue. As most European countries advised their citizens to leave Ukraine in recent weeks, no similar statements came from Central Asia, probably in the hope that reports of a looming invasion by Russia into Ukraine was just hype. Among those countries that were not evacuating their citizens, unlike other countries, there is Uzbekistan. The reaction to the potential crisis at that time can reflect the different attitude of different countries. This is especially so with some Central Asian countries. And Uzbekistan is right among them. As a result, this country will be our major topic today. We will mainly have a look at what kind of country is Uzbekistan, why it is adopting a different attitude towards the situation, and whether its current stance works. If not, then what should be done to adapt to today's world? First of all, let's take a look at what kind of country is this country. Among the 5 countries in Central Asia, Kazakhstan ranks first in terms of area. But if the population is used as a comparative indicator, Uzbekistan is definitely the largest country in Central Asia. Uzbekistan has a land area of less than 450,000 square kilometers, ranking only the third among the 5 Central Asian countries, but its population has reached nearly 34 million. This is invaluable in Central Asia, which is dominated by desert-type climates. In the international community, Uzbekistan also behaves very low-key, so that it is very difficult to find a real-time news about Uzbekistan in the international information. Part of the reason is that the country often tries to stay neutral to many events. This will also be the core of our topic today, because only Turkmenistan is a neutral country in the area. The situation around a conversation between Uzbek President Shavkat Mirziyoyev and Russian President Vladimir Putin is less clear, according to Western media. They are mainly concerned about a phone call between the presidents on February 25, whose content is unclear. However, such concerns were gone a day later. The statement was corrected by the press service of Uzbek president, saying that Uzbekistan was neutral to the situation in Ukraine and supports the primacy of international norms in regulating and de-escalating the situation. So how neutral is this country, and how neutrality is benefiting the country? The reason why Uzbekistan thriving in Central Asia is inseparable from its territory. First of all, the Sir Darya and Amu Darya rivers, 2 major rivers in Central Asia, pass through the territory, and the rivers bring abundant agricultural water to Uzbekistan. The most densely populated place in Central Asia, Fergana Basin, covers an area of more than 20,000 square kilometers, which is the most densely populated area in Central Asia. Most of the Fergana Basin is owned by Uzbekistan, so Uzbekistan has a large population. Second, Uzbekistan is far from great power disputes and has always been politically stable. As one of the only 2 double landlocked countries in the world, Uzbekistan is slightly closed, but it is self-contained, like a paradise. It never provokes major powers such as Russia and the United States. Instead, it is dedicated to developing its own economy. Therefore, the domestic political situation has always been stable, the people live and work in peace and contentment, and the population has been in a state of positive growth. But now, things seem to change. The current Ukraine crisis has put the country's policy in a dilemma. They have come to a question whether the ostrich policy still works. Although Uzbekistan's official neutrality was also confirmed in a UN General Assembly vote. But now, many Kazakh experts have also raised this question. I think this also needs attention in Uzbekistan. Because except Turkmenistan, other Central Asian countries have no official neutral status. In the face of the Russia-Ukraine crisis, it is likely to choose which side to take. This is a very difficult reality for these Central Asian countries, including Turkmenistan, because it is likely to have a serious and far-reaching impact on their future development and international status. This once again proves the feasibility of thinking about this ostrich policy. And when the question of whether it truly abides by the standards and values of the United Nations and actively participates in the work of the United Nations arises, Uzbekistan, as well as its neighbors in the region, suddenly adopts an ostrich policy, neither for nor against, and to remain neutral. In a sense, this logic is understandable. Because partnership and cooperation with Russia and the United States are undoubtedly important to Turkmenistan. So far, this has been the case. Perhaps from a partnership point of view, Turkmenistan cannot stray from left to right and respect both sides. So this is a key point for Uzbekistan. We believe that Uzbekistan needs to face this issue more principledly and proactively. Countries with an ostrich policy often turn to the United Nations for help. They immediately think of the United Nations. But no matter what, the ostrich policy means ignoring the existence of the crisis, which is definitely contradictory to actively facing the problem. In view of the fact that Uzbekistan does not recognize its neutral status internationally, we think that the best solution must not be to continue to adopt the ostrich policy and turn a blind eye to the crisis and possible harm. In the end, we are living in a changing world where now crisis is also going on. It is hard to say whether it is a must for Uzbekistan to choose to support Russia or the US, and it is also not possible to predict whether this will bring prosperity to the country. But it is the responsibility of all to make the world a better place and bring the crisis to an end in a peaceful way. Okay, that's all for today. See you in the next video.